Okay, let's talk some Black Caps cricket. So the Black Caps playing T20s against Australia. There was, there were some changes to the squad. Matt Henry and Tim Seifert have dropped out of the squad, replaced by Ben Sears and Will Young. So Trent Bolt's going to play the second and third games. Tim Southee's playing the first game. Shout out to Australia. Apparently they're sending their full strength squad. Black Caps, they're taking the piss. So that's good for us. We like that. You'll see a bit of Josh Clarkson. Really good T20 hitter, but all his stats put him as a better one-day player. He's a fantastic one-day bowler, for example. So yeah, everything's stock standard. As far as I wrote some stats in our newsletter yesterday for Black Caps who are playing in this series since the last World Cup, which was November 2022 T20 World Cup. Here's one that you'll love. Devon Conway, 189 runs and an average of 17. Big up Devon Conway. The lowest bowling average for a decent amount of wickets, Tim Southee, most wickets, 28 wickets and an average of 16. But then you've also got Ben Sears, 7 wickets and an average of 19. So his inclusion's pretty interesting. And I want to highlight as a player to watch, someone who's got a lot of scope, I believe, to make an impression. And that's Will Young. Because his T20 stats for New Zealand aren't great, but I have seen him dominate some games in the Super Smash, and I think he is one of the best just straight up batters from New Zealand. Aesthetically, mature, experience, craft, it's all there with Will Young. I don't think he's a first 11 T20 player at all. But if he gets an opportunity and he scores runs, I'll be very interested to see how that goes, because I think he is someone who, if he gets a bit of confidence and he figures out how to deploy his style of batting against Australia in T20 cricket, I think it could spark up some momentum for him. And we've seen him smash boundaries, but the way he smashes boundaries is elegant. He's not a slugger. So just watch out for Will Young. See what he does in his limited opportunities, because he won't play all 3 games, I don't think. But I'm just curious what he does in his limited opportunities. And at this stage, I think it will be rude not to remind folks that Michael Bracewell exists. Because we've talked about that a few times. He is someone who could add value for the T20 World Cup. The Black Caps are playing all their games in the Caribbean, and Michael Bracewell is a fantastic T20 cricketer who is not in this squad. So to me, that puts a bit of pressure on Rachin Ravindra, because you're going to have Sodhi and Santner as the main spinners, and then you're thinking about who's our third spinner, which needs to be an all-rounder at this stage. And I think Glenn Phillips offers enough with the bat and in the field to where he is a mandatory first 11 selection. So then it's like, well, to me, it's getting down to Rachin Ravindra versus Michael Bracewell. Michael Bracewell won't have an opportunity against Australia. Rachin Ravindra will. So what does Rachin Ravindra do with his opportunity? There are 2 lads here since the last World Cup. Will Young, he's averaging 13 with the bat. Rachin Ravindra is averaging 15. Ravindra does have a strike rate of 131, so that's cool. Will Young's only knocking around at 99, sorry. Both of those can't be compared at all to Michael Bracewell, because Michael Bracewell, he's an absolute monster. He is the beast. And do you want me to pull up his stats right now? His T20 stats, just for shits and giggles. Michael Bracewell, T20 internationals, averaging 18, strike rate of 139. A little bit higher than Rachin. With the ball, he's averaging 10. That's significantly better than Rutchin. And first class cricket, or sorry, domestic T20s, averaging 29, strike rate of 134, and he's averaging, how about this? Michael Bracewell with the ball, bowling in 49 innings, he's averaging 18. So whatever you do not forget about Michael Bracewell, because I still believe he offers value to the Black Caps for the T20 World Cup. But he's not playing against Australia, so who cares?
Yeah, poor old Michael Bracewell, who's trying to follow the Kane Williamson pattern, I guess, because he was out with long to different injury. It was an Achilles, not a knee thing, but then he comes back from that and very quickly, I think they said he broke a finger or something. It's like a finger injury now that he's out. He had to have surgery on or something, which is kind of what Williamson didn't need surgery on his World Cup one, but he did come back, get a finger injury, miss some time, and since then has scored disgusting amounts of runs. So maybe Michael Bracewell is just going to follow the pattern to the letter. Would be nice, because I agree. I think particularly in the T20 format, I think he's much more valuable than Rachin Ravindra, to be honest, who I think is a little bit of a like square peg round hole if you're looking at him as the spinning all roundery, the extra option there. And because he's a top order batter, really. Like Ravindra, if he's in there earning his way in on his Wellington form, which kind of in this format he hasn't, because we've mentioned a few times the Super Smash numbers are actually kind of bad. Like he's in there on the basis of the all-round value of Rachin Ravindra, the cricketer, and the fact that he's obviously, a young dude whose stats will improve in this format. But his best value would be batting in the top four, and he's not really going to get that opportunity here. If they pick him in line for the World Cup, it would be sort of 6-7, where you want someone who's more of a pure slugger, someone who's just going to clear boundaries from ball one, and that's Michael Bracewell, who I think is also a better bowler in this format. So it is a frustrating one, because he came back for a bit. He played some Super Smash, but then gets injured again, and now hasn't been able to make the Black Caps return. And I think that is an important thing to point out. Like, let's not forget about him, because I do think some of that, again, like a talking point we had a few months ago, was people did maybe forget about him a bit during the World Cup campaign, and how valuable he might have been to them in those conditions, just the style of player that he is. I noticed Jimmy Neesham was also mentioned on the thing of being like, because he's away in Bangladesh, I think, at the moment doing I guess it's called BPL. I don't know. The Bangladeshi T20 League.
It's the cricketing oblivion. Like,
he's away in cricketing oblivion.
As soon as you're into that T20 cycle, like, no one cares about you at all.
Which is why I was a little bit surprised he was mentioned there, because people kick up a fuss about the Bolt and is he available, and the contract stuff. Well, Jimmy Neesham doesn't have a contract either, and he's doing more T20 stuff than Bolt is. Like, it's just. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's really important, because if people are watching the series against Australia and they're thinking, what's the T20 World Cup first 11 or squad going to look like? Jimmy Neesham's got to be there. He is one of the best T20 cricketers from New Zealand, and he won't be playing against Australia. So you need to keep him in mind, and we both think you need to keep Michael Bracewell in mind as well. So there's two lads right there, let alone Tim Seifert or Matt Henry. Or Kane Williamson.
Yeah. And Daryl Mitchell's not playing either, right?
Yep, another one.
So there you go, because he's a first 11 dude in every format at this point. Like, it's just funny getting Australia to send their top team, and we've got half of our best 11 playing. But at least we brought back Trent Bolt for them. At least I think he's playing. He's not playing the first game, he's playing the next couple. So we have Australia a taste of their own medicine there. That'll be an interesting. I don't know. I think T20 feels like the format where we're the best shot at taking a series off of them. So, although maybe not if we're not at full strength, I might pivot to the Test series. But no, we'll see how that tracks. That's it's a lot of cricket going on at the moment. But this is the last big series of the summer, isn't it? Other than England are coming to play White Ferns, so. There is still that, but I can't remember when the last time Australia came here for a bit. I think they've Chapel Hadley this series as well for some reason. I guess because we don't play them at ODIs enough, they wanted to keep that idea relevant. But um, good cricket. Nice to have Australia in the shores. It's they don't come here often enough, and we probably don't play them often enough in general.
Well, as long as we're not playing one of those disgusting 5-test series that just go on and on. Josh Clarkson is a really interesting bloke because he's in the squad and he has a T20 batting strike rate of 148. As I said,
enormous.
His bowling averages first class 41, list A 25, T20 35. So, and he started his Black Caps ODI career with a bowling average of 24. So his best bowling does come in the one-day format, but then he's also got this T20 batting record of 28 average, strike rate of 148, which is a wee bit disgusting, especially when you package it with Finn Allen, with Glenn Phillips, with a Mark Chapman, Daryl Mitchell, who won't be playing. It's pretty decent. And the other thing, again, I wrote about this in the Ford Trophy. We've talked a lot about the young seamers in Aotearoa. We've got the tall seamers. We've got I had issues with this last podcast as well. We've got the seamers. We got the swingers. We've also got the fast blokes because we've got Lockie Ferguson, we've got Adam Milne, and we've got Ben Sears in the same squad. The Ford Trophy elimination final. It will be played in Dunedin, Otago versus Auckland, and then on Saturday we have Canterbury versus the winner, and they'll be played in Christchurch. As I just said, young seamers, they're pretty good in Aotearoa. You got Christian Clark for Northern Districts. He finishes as the leading wicket taker in the Ford Trophy. ND, CD, and Wellington didn't make the finals, but Christian Clark, he's got a one-day list A bowling average of 21. Sorry, oh my god, kind of defeated.
It's got a lot better, yeah.
Yeah, defeated the purpose of how I was trying to say that. Let me redo it. Christian Clark, he's got a list A average of 21 with the ball, and he was just the leading wicket taker in the Ford Trophy. So maybe he's pretty good at bowling. Leading wicket takers, Christian Clark, Blair Tickner, Ray Toole. Ray Toole is an emerging lefty who is also good in Plunkett Shield. But then we get to Luke Georgeson and Zach Folks, who both have 15 wickets. And then, of course, Big War, who has 13 wickets at an average of 17. He's averaging below 20 in all domestic formats this season. Luke Georgeson is the bloke to watch out for in the elimination final because he's got 15 wickets this season. He's taken 12 wickets in his last 3 games, including 2 fifers against his former team, Wellington. I think Zach Folks is better because Zach Folks bowls massive in-swing. He's got the straight delivery. He's got the change-ups. He's a really crafty batter. I think he's a better batter than Luke Georgeson. However, they are both extremely skillful all-rounders. So you're going to have Luke Georgeson playing for Otago. Otago have also got Matt Bacon, who's pretty good with the ball. They've got a good bowling attack. They've got Ben Lockrose as their spinner. Jacob Duffy is always a factor in domestic cricket. And, of course, Andrew Hazeldine, the aggressive lefty, who bowls really fast. And let me double check if he's got how his batting strike rate's going. He's got 106 runs at a strike rate of 143. So he's an aggressive batter and he's an aggressive lefty. Hostile seam from Andrew Hazeldine. Otago's best batter is Thorne Parks, who's a young, I think he's also a lefty, he might be lefty. He is a youngster, 23 years old. And he's got a one-day batting average of 59 in his first major campaign of Ford Trophy. So he's the leading figure for Otago. So Otago have Luke Georgeson, really hot young seamer, 12 wickets in his last 3 games. And they've also got Thorne Parks, really interesting young batter. Auckland, they got Rob O'Donnell. Rob O'Donnell's the only dude with over 400 runs. He's the only dude with 350s and a century. He's an extremely good cricketer. Along with Brad Schmullian and Joe Carter, those three are probably the best domestic trooper Ford Trophy batters this season. Auckland won't have Fenelon. Fenelon's stats are still incredible, averaging 56 with a strike rate of 123 in 7 Ford Trophy games. Auckland, Ben Lister's the main bowler I'm interested in. Lefty, another lefty. So we've got Ray Toole's a good lefty. Ben Lister's a really funky lefty, as we always talk about. He's got 11 wickets at an average of 22. So watch out for him in this elimination final. And if I'm zoning in on the young seamers, I'll be really interested to see what happens to Jock McKenzie. I'm curious if he's a first 11 player, if he makes the team for this elimination final, and how he performs. Because I think he's just another fantastic young seamer who hasn't been dominant in his debut season, but he's got really impressive signs. The omens are there for Jock McKenzie as a funky seamer. Just like Christian Clark, Ray Toole, Luke Georgeson, Zach Folks, Will O'Rourke. Josh Clarkson as well. He's got a fantastic record, but he won't be playing. The Cantabs, well, Zach Folks. Can't go past Zach Folks. What would you set the over-under? Well, it's all under. I need to figure out a cleaner way of saying this, but because it's a good little gimmick. Zach Folks averages under this mark in all 3 formats. What's your guess? With the ball, sorry, with the ball.
Well, it might be with both. But if I guess high enough,
it's almost with
right.
Both. Almost.
Yeah. I mean, I could win this game by just saying like 100, obviously, but that's no fun.
Correct.
So we'll go further.
Yeah, good on you, mate.
28.
Jeepers creepers. The dude I keep talking about, you're going to say 28.
Well, you said all 3 formats. You could average 14, 14, and 27.9 or something, you know. It might be one. So I'm guessing we can go lower then. Let's say 24.
How about we go 23, because he averages 22 in first-class cricket, 22 in list A cricket, and 15 in T20s.
See, that's outrageous.
So that's why we're talking about Zach Folks, because he does good things in cricket. So watch out for him. He'll be playing with Canterbury. They might have Will O'Rourke, which will be fascinating, because I don't think he's playing. Well, he's not playing the T20 against Australia, so he might be lining up for Canterbury. Chad Bowes has been fantastic for Canterbury, averaging 36 with a strike rate of 94, which is quintessential Chad Bowes. But also, the one and only legend of New Zealand cricket. He's not the best batter ever, but he's damn sure close. The one and only Henry Nicholls, Ford Trophy this season, 295 runs, average of 98, strike rate of 93. Super Smash, 317 runs, average of 39, strike rate of 142. Plunkett Shield, 393 runs, average of 78, strike rate of 58. So Henry Nicholls, since being dropped from the Black Caps, he's averaging 78 in the Plunkett Shield, 98 in the Ford Trophy, and a very healthy Super Smash average of 39. Big up Henry Nicholls. He will be playing for Canterbury as well.
Yeah, well, Henry Nicholls never did have a problem scoring runs in New Zealand, so that adds up. If they played some Super Smash in India, he might have trouble, but I don't think he'd be the only one, to be fair.
He's not the best batter in New Zealand, because that's Kane Williamson, but he might be the second best batter in New Zealand, because he's a legend in Aotearoa conditions. There's also the HBJ Shield final, which will be Otago versus Wellington. And this is a fairly typical matchup in the HBJ Super Smash ranks, but I want to just throw out some nuggets here. Francis Mackay, Lee Kasperick, they are both top 10 for runs and wickets, so shout out to them. Wellington's Jess McFadden, she's the leading run scorer right now, heading into the final. So she's the leading run scorer. She's the best wicketkeeper in New Zealand, but she doesn't play for the White Ferns. And all the leading run scorers are senior domestic troopers. You've got a bit of George Atkinson. She's averaging 34, and this is and Georgia Plummer as well has had a good season for Wellington. I put a clip up of Kate Chandler. She scored a half century in the last game for Wellington. She is a very good young cricketer. She's 17 years old, and she's scoring runs, taking wickets in domestic cricket. But I think back to the Super Smash final, and it was a bit weird because I'd seen her stats, I've seen her play a bit, and I know she's a good cricketer. Come to the Super Smash final, batting at Eden Park, which this only reinforced my idea about how difficult batting at Eden Park is on that pitch. We've seen it with touring teams playing T20s and one days at Eden Park. It's not easy. It's a funky pitch. And the pitch is far more significant, I believe, than the actual dimensions of Eden Park. She couldn't hit the ball. There was just delivery outside off stump, swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss. So it was unfortunate for Kate Chandler, but she is 17 years old with 2 half centuries and an average of 30 in the HBJ Shield this season. So watch out for her. And who else am I going to highlight here? Emma Black, she's an Otago seamer. She is first for wickets. 21 wickets at an average of 11. Kaylee Knight, she's a Northern District seamer. She just took 7 wickets in a game. I think that was on Saturday. Who's third? Who's fourth for wickets? Lee Kasparek, Francis Mackay. There's far more young bowlers in the top of the wicket-taking charts. Batting skews towards the senior players. So young bowlers in the top 10. We've got Emma Black, Kaylee Knight, Eden Carson, Zara Jetley, the sneakiest championship cricketer in New Zealand, Sarah Asmussen, Gabby Sullivan, and Marama Downs. So again, this is the same as men's cricket in the Ford Trophy and the other formats. The young seamers are really good. Marama Downs, one of the best Super Smash seamers. Now she's averaging 22 in the HBJ Shield. Zara Jetley, Championship Mahi as well. She's averaging 21 with the ball. Eden Carson's averaging 15. Jetley and Carson aren't seamers, but they're still young and it still applies. Top 2 bowlers in the HBJ Shield this season, 2 young seamers. So there it is. And
not a lot of White Ferns in the players you list today.
You just took that out of my mouth.
Carson and Plymmer, but did they? Because I think the start of the HBJ might have clashed with when Pakistan was here, so they might not have played so much. But
a little bit, but
I'm not sure.
Not a whole lot.
A couple of others have had rests as well, but
yeah, they're also just not taking wickets. You know,
they're also not taking wickets.
This is the thing about the White Ferns; they don't exactly dominate domestic cricket either after earning selection for the White Ferns, or they earn selection for the White Ferns after not dominating domestic cricket. And that is the case right now because the best players in the HBJ, or the best bowlers in HBJ Shield, Carson is 5th and she's the only current White Fern. She's the best current White Fern and she's 5th. If we go, Hannah Rowe is 9th. That's it for current White Ferns bowlers. And it tells you all you need to know about White Ferns cricket. So there's a bumper Ford Trophy preview with lots of stats, lots of information on our website. I'll be doing the same for HBJ Shield Final, so watch out for that if you love your cricket.